right, so welcome again to another episode of This and That. We are excited to be here. We have a very, very special guest today, but before we get into that, remember, do not forget to subscribe to this channel, y'all. Like this video. Follow us on
Twitter.
Twitter.
I got it right.
Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook, okay? So we are going to get into it. We have a very special guest joining us today. I am so incredibly excited and humble. We have Dr. Keshia Brown.
Hi, doctor.
Hello. Dr. Keshia Brown is a wife, a mother. She's a physician assistant. She leads the Mount Portsmouth with her husband so faithfully. And she also is an author, and she is my first lady, Dr. Keshia Brown.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I am wonderful. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but I've made it.
Yes.
You made it, and it happens to us once in a while anyway, trying to adapt to the new ways of doing things.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's so good. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
So we're going to jump right into this today, Dr. Keshia. And in the introduction, I named all of those hats that you wear.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of hats.
That's a lot.
Tell us, how do you manage to juggle it all and balance everything?
Honestly, I don't know. Some days I don't know if I'm coming or going. I have help, which plays a huge role in just being able to balance. My mom helps us tremendously, and so she comes over pretty much every day and helps with the kids. She washes clothes, she cooks, she cleans, she picks them up from school sometimes. So, and we have a really big family as well, an extended family. So between my mom being the primary outside of us, you know, we have cousins and aunties and uncles who definitely pitch in to help as well. And my husband's parents help as well. So we just have a good unit that helps us be able to kind of do it all.
Awesome. Well, I tell you, you do it so gracefully, and I know you just described your tribe, and that is so good to have that support system backing you. Did you have any questions? Because I don't want to just bombard.
I have so many,
okay.
But I don't. Yeah, like I'm trying to organize all of my questions in my head.
I was gonna ask. So, with everything that you're doing, do you find sometimes that you have to sacrifice one for the other? In terms of like, do you find that sometimes your career may suffer for being a mother and a wife and leading a church? You know, so is there an area that may suffer more because you have so much on your plate?
Well, I wouldn't say suffer. I definitely would say give and take in all of it. And so just kind of prioritizing what's going to happen and what doesn't get done. And I think in your mind, you have to tell yourself, it's okay. If this doesn't happen, it's literally okay. But I am a early sleeper. I'm in the bed like a grandma at 9 p.m. I am up at 5 a.m. And so I use that time for my devotionals to just set my budget or review my financials or pay bills or just that alone time to have to myself. So I think that helps keep me organized. And when I was in school, I used that time to write my papers and to study. And so I try to keep that time to myself, which is why I go to bed early, so that I can try to get some stuff done, but then it doesn't always work out. And so you just have to be patient with yourself, give yourself grace, realize that you're a mom and you're also leading a church and you also have a full-time career, and it doesn't work out all the time. And that's okay. But you do what you can do and you just keep going. That's it. I think, you know, they joke and they call my mom the Energizer Bunny. I wish I had half the energy that she has. People always say, how do you do it? I'm like, well, you must not know my mom, because she gets done. So I think I get a little bit of it from her. But my husband often reminds me of the importance of just rest and just saying, pick a day where you just absolutely do nothing. And I think that's so important that for all of us to keep that in mind as moms, to just have that time, because otherwise we'll burn out.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
And it is so encouraging to hear it from someone who's wearing so many different hats and doing everything so well, that it's okay when not everything gets done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I believe that as moms, sometimes we have a difficult time
Yes.
with accepting that it is okay that not everything got done today.
Right.
Absolutely. It's so funny because you say that, because I saw a meme, and obviously I'm expecting my third child, and I saw a meme that said basically like how to welcome a new baby into the family. And it said stuff like, sit and watch your husband sleep peacefully while you plan his demise. And it's
oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
It basically said like
exactly.
Or like try to dress an octopus in 5 seconds. Like, we know that this stuff literally just does not happen.
Right.
You just have to just, again, give yourself grace, just like God gives us grace to just live our lives and run this race. I just try to remind myself that it's okay if it doesn't get done. As much as I want to follow my type A personality, I have to reel back sometimes. And I think that's important for all of us.
Yeah, awesome. Absolutely.
And congratulations on the new baby on the way.
Yeah, 3 strikes, I was out. He told me 3 strikes out, so.
Oh my gosh, so many good things happening.
Yeah.
Now, how, again, I have so many questions I'm trying to organize them in my head, but one of them is, being that you are a physician, but you are also a first lady, how are you able to manage when you are interacting with patients who may not share certain spiritual or religious beliefs, but I think sometimes it comes naturally for people, to put the higher being first above anything else. But how do you manage to keep that to yourself and not put it on your patient?
To be honest, I don't keep it to myself. The Bible tells us that we are the salt of the earth. And so I am not like, you should go to church, you should love the Lord. I think the premise that I take is that the Bible tells us that we are to be the light. And being the light doesn't necessarily mean you have to go around with the sign screaming, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I think it's how you interact with people, how you treat people, how you respond to people, that then shows people the love of Jesus. And then they want to know, well, wow, who is this like, how do you get so happy? Like, what is this joy that radiates deep on the inside? And so I think that is what draws people without even having to mention his name. It's really how you carry yourself that people really come to know who Jesus is. And so, I always think about that. I want to be that type of person. They say, man, I want to know more about her or this God that she serves, because how she responds, not necessarily because I walked around carrying a sign saying Jesus, Jesus, Jesus all day. And so I've never had a patient like refuse my offer to pray with them or just to share encouragement, because I think people just recognize like, wow, there's something different. Like, I can receive this. So it's worked for me thus far. So I just keep doing what I'm doing.
Right. I like how you said that being the light, right?
Yep.
And sometimes, like you mentioned before, your actions, say it all. So you don't have to go around and putting a name to certain things per se, but when people genuinely receive what you are giving and they know that you are being genuine in what you are giving, they see the light and they are more willing to welcome it.
Right, exactly.
Beautiful.
Yeah, beautifully stated. So I do want to talk about the book a little bit. So Dr. Keshia is a new author of the book, Is Not What You Call Me, Is What I Answer To. Ooh. And there is so much in that title.
Yes.
So I guess, could you talk to us a little bit about like what inspired you to write this book and what does that all mean?
Ooh, wow. It's such a power-packed book. Um, the saying really came from my dad, who just encouraged my sister and I to just always remember that basically don't be defined by what people call you or your circumstances. And so it's not what you call me, is what I answer to, stands on the premise that literally you are to operate based upon what God says about you and not what anybody else says about you. And if you could get that through your head, you could walk with a different level of anointing and boldness and confidence to just do what God has set out for you to do in this life. And so that has been a driving force for me in every area of my life, that it doesn't matter what people say about me. Like my no means next opportunity.
Right.
So I think we have to stand on that premise that people will call you a whole lot of stuff, but if you allow yourself to be defined by what people call you, then you'll stay stuck in the same place forever. But if you decide to hold on to the fact that this is what God has said about me, this is who He created me to be, and that I am called, I am destined, I do have great plans for my life, then you can really walk out the fullness of what God has for you. And so we unpack so much in that book, from early childhood to just career. But it's really just dealing and breaking down walls and barriers of people just being defined by everything else but besides what God has said about them. And I think that keeps us in bondage.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, I cannot wait. I already asked about the book, and I heard that it's on pre-order.
Yeah.
It's not out yet.
Yes, January. January is coming.
Yes.
Okay.
Where can we purchase the book?
So right now it's on my website, purposeher.com, for pre-order. And then in January, when it comes out, it should be on release on Amazon. And so you'll be able to do your Amazon Prime and receive the book. So I'm excited about that, and to finally release it. And then, of course, I have goals to do a book tour and just to share and unpack the book chapter by chapter, to really just bring healing to just people and women in particular, so they really can just start walking in the fullness of what God has for them. Because it's so easy to compare. You know, she's doing this, or how did she get this, or how is she in this level? I'm still stuck in the same place. And so we break down those walls of comparison and really own the fact that we are without rival. Like, there are no rivals besides us. We are the only one standing in the way of doing whatever it is we're supposed to do. But we get these blinders on that we think everybody else is in the way. And God's like, no, you are in your own way. Let go of the baggage that you were carrying on to and move off of baggage claim and get on the flight. Like, this is what God is saying.
Absolutely. I really think that's so profound, because I do believe that breakthrough starts, and like being able to walk into destiny starts with a sense of identity, of knowing who you are. So knowing what you answer to is all a part of that identity. And like you said, you have to know what God calls you. So I think that is so incredibly powerful, and I think it's something that will be relevant and will definitely add value to the people. So please, 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 everyone, go out and pre-order that book, and in January, get your Amazon orders on and pick it up for a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend, because it's definitely going to be a great read.
Yep. And what I'm getting is that not just for those, because we have those who are very spiritual but may not be religious, right? And they like to have the separation between those two entities per se. But it sounds that this is for everyone.
Yes.
It's encouraging. So yes, you may not want to put a name to who you answer to per se. However, you manifest and you meditate and you find purpose, and you try to identify, what that self-identity, and building all of that, and see how that's going to continue to grow and expand your spirituality, whatever that may look like. So that's why I'm excited about the book, because I feel that it's not it's not just speaking to a group of people, it can speak to everyone,
yes.
Depending on how we interpret the message that you are sending us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Do you plan on authoring more books?
Woo, yes, in the future.
Yeah.
I actually want to do one with my husband. So we have to get to that next step, baby steps.
Yeah.
But I figured after I get this one off the ground and do a book tour and really break it down, that is one of my future goals for my husband and I to be able to write a book together. And then author it. So definitely some other things in the works, but I'm just, again, as I told myself about 2021, God, I'm not making any plans. I'm letting you take the lead.
Right. Because we definitely learned that for sure. This, right?
Yes.
What was that I often wonder, like, about that process, like with writing. Does it require like a certain level of vulnerability that you have to have, like that process of writing a book?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the best thing that I've learned in pursuing my doctorate degree, and so the book actually came out of my final project, which was a requirement, and so I had to change the book in some areas from scholarly to more applicable to the everyday reader. But the biggest thing that they shared was just your ability to narrate. And the reader typically connects based upon your narration of your transparency, your authenticity, your ability to be able to relate to the reader. And so I tried to be as practical as I could about things that we as women face on a daily basis, whether it's a career issue, something that happens in the workplace, or whether it's just, like you said, identity and just owning, like, you know what, God, who am I and what have you said about me? And so we break down walls, like I said, from the very beginning to try to identify what is the baggage, what is the thing that is holding me in bondage from not taking the next step. And then we kind of work through that throughout the book to be able to help people to own a little bit more of who they are and who God has called them to be in each chapter. So when they get to the end, they're like, you know what? I'm a leader and I'm going to go out and I'm going to lead this thing because I take up space on the earth for a reason.
Right.
So I'm not here by mistake. That, you know, I take up space and I own my seat at the table. And so that's kind of how I narrated the book, to just be authentic to the reader so they can relate. So I think that's the biggest thing. You do have to be, to some extent, vulnerable to be able to share with the reader so they can connect with you, that, you know what, wow, things happen to you as well. And man, I didn't know that our stories or our journeys connected here, but this is how we can continue to move forward to really accomplish all that we're supposed to accomplish here on earth.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Yeah, we hear you, girl. Now, you look so young.
Woo!
We don't have to be your age, put your age out there, but you look so extremely young, and you have already accomplished so much, right? Yeah. And you have plans to continue to accomplish. What message do you have, I guess, and we can break these questions into two parts. One, for those who may feel that they are not as young and they want so much that they want to do, but they feel like, you know what, look at this young woman. She has accomplished so much. Me at my age, you know, what am I doing? What message do you have to encourage people to continue to move on?
Well, I mean, first, I'm 33, so I guess I'm a little bit young, but I mean,
I say you didn't have to stay your age.
But I would say even now, like, it's the bottom line is it is never too late. It literally is never too late. I mean, I had people in my PA class when I became a physician assistant. I was 21 when I started the PA program, and I had people in my class who were in their 40s and 50s. I think the oldest person we may have had was like 59, almost 60. But people were starting second careers. And so if it's a passion, it's something that you want to do, it is never too late to do it, to be that entrepreneur that you always wanted to be, or to write that book, or to own the business, whatever it is. I just don't think it's ever too late. You just have to be disciplined enough to do it, and to be consistent in your will to see it come to fruition and it manifests. And I think that's the thing that people lack. We have all these great, grandiose ideas, but none of us want to persevere to make it happen. It's like we get frustrated in the process, or somebody has told us that it'll never work, or it'll take. I mean, people told me that in the beginning, like, girl, you trying to go to medical school? Like, I'll be driving a Benz when I'm 25 and you'll still be in school. I mean, people will literally say stuff to you that makes you think like, man, maybe I shouldn't do this. Like, if I, this idea of social media, and I want to have the nice car, and I want to be married when I'm 22, and I want to have a baby when I'm 25. It's just this picture that's unrealistic that society creates for us. And it's like, no, it doesn't matter where you are on your journey. If you are fulfilling the desires of your heart and what God has placed on your heart to do, then I think that's what we should be going after, regardless of our age. And that's what we got to hold on to. And so that would be my word of encouragement, that still go after it. If you're 50, write the book.
Right. Yep. Right.
And not only for you, but then you're writing a book and you're generating income potentially. If you have children or grandchildren, leave your inheritance for them, so we always have to be thinking next generation when we do stuff. And so, not even, you asked me about, did I want to write another book? Absolutely. But I also want my children to write a book. Even now at 8 and 3, I would love for them to be able to be an author, so they can learn the importance of just building, and then not only just taking that money just to say, oh, I made some money, but no, using it for their college funds. So I think we have to change our perspective about how we think about where we are in life, instead of allowing society to put those limitations around it.
Yep. Right. And to me, and then it still all goes back to identity. Like, when you know who you are, it impacts how you see and do everything. Like, you do business differently, like you handle relationships differently, like you just do.
Right.
So, and another thing, what came to mind as Dr. Keshia was talking, that you gotta do it. Like, you have to go after it, no matter the age, because someone's breakthrough could be on the other end of you doing your
exactly
of your obedience, right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And everything that you said, I think also applies for our young girls.
Yeah.
Coming up, and how we have to encourage them to fulfill your dream. Don't let anybody, don't let society, don't let your neighbor or the person who wants to drive a Benz or BMW at 25, right? Get in your brain and kind of change what you think is going to be your future and your destiny. But what would you like to add? Is there anything that you'd like to add to encourage those little girls who look like you, like me, like Shanequa, who sound like me, or somebody else who may be different, or society has put in their heads that they are different? Right. How do you help them find their identity? How do you encourage them to?
Well, I think the biggest thing too, it's hard to say think long term now to a young person. It's like, oh, think long term. But I really think we have to set a goal and then be consistent enough to say, I am going to work to achieve this. And so my biggest thing growing up, I grew up in Portsmouth, Virginia, which, teen pregnancy and low socioeconomic status was real. It happened. And so I had to make up in my mind that either I was going to be a product of my environment, or that I was going to not be a product, and I was going to do something about it and change it. And I think the world can show us what we want to be or what we don't want to be. Even in our where we come from, our upbringing, we can decide that, my parents showed me that this is what I want to be like, and I want to live on food stamps or whatever. Or either I want to break the generational curse and say, you know what, I am going to be different. And so my mom, I'll never forget, she gave me a book, Gifted Hands by Ben Carson, who is the surgeon who separated the Siamese twins. Skilled surgeon. We're not going to talk about politics here, but skilled surgeon.
Yeah.
And I remember reading that book saying, wow, like this is just absolutely amazing. And so I think the exposure is important for us as young people to say, you know what, mom, I want to travel the world, or like expose me to just something different. I think that can be our downfall, is that we're not exposed to enough at a young age to be able to even expand our thought process of
Right.
what's possible. And so that's why I always encourage my young people to find a mentor, do these programs where you're just exposed to different things. Go on field trips and learn about it. Don't actually just go just to joke around, like actually take it in so that you can be that generational breaker for your family. And so that was the model that I took, so that I say that I will not be in the same place, but I'm going to be different, not only for me, but for my children and my children's children.
Right. Right.
Good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And right now we're fighting social media when helping these girls find their identity or shape their identity. And social media is a big, big monster.
It is.
So hearing stories from, women like you, I hope that more of us will come out and take the time to really speak to or with these young girls, because sometimes their environment prevent them from being exposed, or from having that mentality that you had of, I choose what I want to be. Do I want to be this, or do I want to break this cycle and be something else? But for a lot of them, it's so difficult.
Tough. It is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had a wonderful conversation, and I feel like it can just go on and on and on, because you're so easy to talk to, Dr. Keshia. So in our last few minutes together, okay, listen, I don't know if you know, but we have something that we do up here called Would You Rather. Now, I said I wanted to switch it up a bit for Dr. Keshia.
Good, so I don't have to play.
No, so I'm going to ask you to choose. Would you rather do the would you rather questions, or like get to know you questions?
I haven't seen that. I'm game with either.
You game with either?
No, I want to do the get to know.
Get to know you questions.
Okay.
Let's get to know Dr. Keshia. Okay. So these questions, they're cool. They're cool beats. All right. Dr. Keshia, tell us, what is something that you are obsessed with right now?
Oh, buying baby stuff for a girl. I just decorated. We painted her room. I just put new panels on her wall that we have to like paint over. So I'm definitely obsessed with girl stuff.
Oh, wow.
Nice. You're so cute. I mean,
I know.
I love boys, and I have 2 girls.
Yeah.
And then I have grown boys. But little girls are just
to buy for.
They are.
Yes.
So are you like into all the pink? Are you the pinky girl or the other?
Yeah, well, I'm an AKA, so I mean pink and green, so it's kind of by default.
Okay. Next question. What is your favorite part of the morning?
Favorite part of the morning? Probably the drive to work alone. It's peaceful.
Do you drive in silence, or do you play music?
It depends on the vibe I'm in. So sometimes I'll just ride in silence and just allow God to speak to me. Sometimes I'll listen to Steve Harvey. And I love Nephew Tommy's prank phone calls. I'll just listen to or I'll just listen to music, or I'll listen to a podcast. It really just depends on my vibe for the morning. But that's probably the favorite part. And I do enjoy seeing the sunrise as well. That's always just, marveling at the beauty of just God's creation. That kind of helps give me a perspective for the day, and just being thankful.
Okay. So, finish this sentence. I feel best when.
I feel best when, oh gosh, I feel best with a lot of things, but I'd probably say I feel best when I'm reading my devotional. Probably.
Okay. What is something that you do not like that everyone else loves?
Candy apples.
You said that quick.
Obsessed.
Right.
I love them.
So you mentioned you're pregnant, and so you have 2 boys already. So describe each of your children in 3 words.
Ooh, KJ, the 8-year-old, very determined, very empathetic, um, and he's very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be KJ. Jackson is very caring. He's thoughtful, and he's a mama's boy.
That's the best one.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Who do you admire the most?
My mom. I would definitely say that. She is probably the strongest woman I know. Just her work ethic and her ability to just give so much, even now. It's like, I've raised you and your sister, but like she doesn't have to help me raise my children. Like, that's not her responsibility. But the fact that she doesn't, and she's so selfless in doing it, I definitely admire her for that. Cause I mean, my friends always tell me like, girl, you have it good. Cause my mom will be like, watch your own kids.
They're your babies.
Yes, they're your own babies. You raise your babies.
They're your babies.
Yes.
I ain't had no part of making them.
Right.
I ain't had no part of making them.
Uh-huh.
But no, that is such a blessing because even though my mom isn't here anymore, I definitely, when you talk about the support, it reminded me so much of her because that's just how she was. She would, just come to the rescue or just help with just everyday routine. Me as a new mother, she knew what I needed at that time. So
Right.
it was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
don't know what I will do without my mama because
Yep.
she's just there without
Exactly.
asking.
Exactly.
I was like, when do you get in my house?
Yep.
Right.
And she already there doing whatever.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I have my mother-in-law who's, at her age, I'm
Yeah.
like, how are you so active?
Yep.
But always willing to help.
That's
so
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Last thing, say 3 words to your 18-year-old self.
Go girl.
Yes.
3 words. Go girl. Dream and have fun.
Yes.
Awesome.
That is awesome. And I think that is a great way to end this episode. Go girl, dream, and have fun, y'all. So remember, do not forget to subscribe to this channel.
Right.
Like this video. Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. And follow us on Instagram.
Thank you so much, Dr. Keshia. Is there anything that you would like to add? Anything that you would like to share before we go?
Just thank you guys. Keep doing what you're doing and just sharing such a positive platform to everyone. I think that is so special and the world needs more of it. So keep up the good work, ladies.
Thank you. And add this and that in the mix in your podcast routine. Would you like to listen to podcasts
in the morning?
Yes. Yes.
Add us.
I will. I have to find you.
Yes. So remember, guys, life doesn't have to be this or that. It should be